Hey everybody, welcome to the Namra podcast. We've got a very special episode for you. Jane Barnes Interiors and Kevin from BB&R Design Build are here to talk about the George to the Rescue project that you've seen us post about a few times lately. We can't wait to tell you the whole story, so stay tuned. Hey guys. Thanks for coming.
What's up, Russ?
Our pleasure. It's so
Great
nice
to
to
see you.
see you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, this is awesome. We're excited to chat about
Very
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Our first podcast. Very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Namra studio.
Thank you. It's
Very
awesome.
cool place. We love it here.
Yeah, you did a great
Old
job.
mill building.
Super
Very cool.
Thank you. So, again, thanks for coming. The reason that this came up, obviously, is because of the big George to the Rescue project. Many of our clients or followers have definitely seen us post about it. We've shared a lot of your posts. And so I'm super excited to have you here to tell them the full story. So why don't you guys, in your words, kind of tell everybody how it happened and what the deal was there?
Well, so we got a phone call from a producer, and our office manager came in and said, you know, there's this guy, Andrew. He's a producer for a show. He wants to talk to you. And, you know, I just kind of blew it off like, okay, what kind of show? What kind of producer? Like, you know, how much money do they want? You know, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no. It's like, it sounds pretty legit. And I said, well, why don't you set up a Teams meeting with him? We'll sit down. We'll get Kevin. We'll talk about it. Let's see how legitimate it is. Because I really kind of thought, you know, what is this?
We've always been a little skeptical of that kind of. We've gotten calls a couple times, and they're always, you know, offering something up, but then you realize at the last minute that you got to cough up a fat amount of money to be part of it and that type of thing. So we're very skeptical going into it.
Yeah, for sure. And so we met with the producer, you know, via Teams, and it was like legit, and it was for a great cause. It was for the veterans, and it was in Gardner, which, you know, is a great community. It's, you know, got a little bit of, you know, it could use a good spotlight. It could use a great storyline, you know, and I loved this. It was all about, you know, giving back to the community, helping our veterans, you know, just people in need. And it was just a super exciting opportunity. So initially it was just, you know, me as the designer, and normally they would source out their own contractors in the community, and they had already put out feelers. But, you know, once Kevin heard about it, he, you know, really was excited about the, you know, the premise of the show, and, you know, said, hey, I can do you one better. Like, we can be the GC for this, and we can use all of our subcontractors. And it just was terrific. And, you know, then we went out to tour, you know, the MVOC, and what a great group of people out there. The executive director is just fantastic, and it was just a great outfit that really just needed some help, you know, just needed a little bit of help. And it was, you know, an awesome opportunity for us to use our skill set, our wheelhouse, to benefit these amazing people that, you know, have fallen on some hard times and, you know, just need a little bit of help.
Yeah, definitely, you know, being part of helping the veterans is a very, you know, big part of it. That was very cool.
Yeah.
But we should, you know, part of also what led up to the initial call, you know, going back, because they saw Jane on social media and on the videos. So, you know, even going back, Russ, I met you at the Greater Good during the networking Worcester Chamber thing, however long ago it was, you know. Then fast forward, we started doing a little, up to that point, all our social media stuff was just, you know, cell phones, and just posted a little bit here and there. But, you know, we did a few better produced, not to give you a shout out and a plug here, but, you know, working with you guys, I think, was a part of it, helping to initiate that and getting it going, getting some better videos out there. And that's exactly what they picked up on. Andrew, the producer, you know, most of the George to the Rescue episodes are down in New York and New Jersey. That's where their main core is, but he has a connection. His brother is up this way, works with the VA, I believe, and they were really looking to get connected with something, help the veterans, and, you know, just started looking for designers in this area. So, you know, they saw camera shy Jane doing a video, and they're like, oh, she likes, she's pretty easy on the eyes and likes to talk about design. Let's give her a call.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would echo that sentiment. It was really like, the amazing videos that you've produced for us and put on social. That first, he found me, via the website, and then, looked me up on social and saw like these really great videos that were beautifully produced. So, put the skill set and, the camera presence together. And it was really cool because when we went out to tour the facility and meet Andrew, like it was not a done deal. It was like, let's see how this goes. And we weren't sure that, we were still assessing as well. And this is an entirely pro bono project. So, how much time, was involved. And so we went out there, he was just doing a little bit of videoing of us. And, we didn't know if it was going to get green lighted or not. And, a couple weeks later, then it got green lighted, and it was just all kind of came together. It was really, really fun, cool, amazing, and so gratifying. And,
I think the us working together on it was not necessarily, the big thing was just Jane as the designer in the beginning. And then we were asked, what do you do about the contracting side? And I really wasn't sure if we wanted to be a part of it at that point either. We're busy enough already. It's time we got to spend on this thing. And it came up in conversation. It's not like they were jumping on, oh, you're a contractor, let's have you do it. I think they were a little skeptical, like, yeah, husband and wife contractor, team. So yeah, we will call around and find some commercial contractors that maybe have a little more manpower. So it really wasn't right out of the gate that's what they were interested in. So that kind of just slowly came about as they got to know us, I think.
Yeah. And Andrew got to talk with you, and they've been on for 15 seasons, so this is not their first rodeo. So they know what to ask, what to look for. And after a couple of conversations with Kevin, they realized that he's the real deal. He knows what he's talking about, and we have fantastic subcontractors. So they saw not too slowly into the process that we were going to be able to handle this amazingly well and smoothly and professionally.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. And Kev, did you have something?
No. Go ahead.
Well, you touched on it. The husband-wife duo thing is sort of a claim to fame with you guys, and so I want to tell everybody a little bit more about like the specifics of the George to the Rescue project as well. But first, why don't we just talk about like your businesses and the dynamic and how you guys started working together? And I think it would be really cool to tell that backstory as well.
Do you want to start that, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll start. Well, so we've been married for 27 years, and before we were married, Kevin has a degree in civil engineering, and I have a business degree, but my father was an interior designer and really was my passion. I had a business degree, and so we were both working for corporate, having corporate jobs, and we weren't really fulfilled by either of them. So we had, this dream that Kevin would build houses, I would design them and decorate them, and we'd be this great duo. But, life took different turns, and the corporate situation was very secure, and it was just a very kind of clear path after graduating from college. And, then over time, Kevin started his own business, and he was working with other designers, and and they did great work, but I really felt like I had more to bring to the table. And so I was home for 10 years with our two sons, and then went back into the workforce, went into corporate, and quickly was reminded of how this was not my jam, when the most exciting thing I was doing was, picking out a font for, invitations. I thought, I need more. I need to get this creative juice out of me like it's a gift. So, just in conversation with Kevin, he said, I could really use you. And then we just, started on one project and, figured out like the flow of how we were going to work together, because, we were already husband and wife, so we already had this rhythm of, how we handled our own projects, things like that. And then, starting our own, starting working together, the first time, it was a really easy flow, and we, over a few projects, developed a, process of how we would, implement and present the designs to clients. And that was 10 years ago, 9 years ago.
I don't remember the exact time, but yeah, it definitely evolved over time. Like Jane said, I started the business back in 2004, and just kind of out of necessity, had left the corporate side of things, larger commercial contracting company, and a couple smaller things that didn't work out. And then we had kids, so she was home raising them. And then went through the 07, 08, 09 challenging times, really finding our direction, came out of that to really grasp onto the design build concept and focus on kitchens and baths. And, Jane was always in my back pocket to help with clients and their selections, whatnot. Back then I was showing up in people's dining rooms with a projector screen and, my laptop and going through the designs on that, really winging it and just kind of figuring it out as you go. And before the meeting, I'd say, Jane, which door should I show them? Like, what do we do? What am I doing? And, it just kind of evolved over time. And then, like Jane said, worked with a few other designers, but it's different. They're not under the same roof, so you just kind of have them in for a period of time to help specify things, do a design, but then they're on to their other projects. And things come up along the way, so, that's where Jane, I need help on this. And it was just really good because, I may know construction and that type of stuff, but colors and, I'd match plaid with polka dots if, based on my skills. But so then she was back in the corporate world and that wasn't working out. So somewhere along the way, we just said, let's
do this.
Like, you have a passion you want to follow. We have a need in this business that ties into that. Let's just kind of take this leap of faith to, get it going.
Yeah.
So,
it was definitely a leap of faith for sure. Yeah. But it was also like always meant to be, like when some things are just in the stars, and we knew it early on, but then, real life took us in different directions and led us away from that. And then real life kind of brought us back to that. And, for me, it was a tremendous leap of faith to begin this journey. And but I love what I do and Kevin loves what he does. So when you put two people together that love individually what they're doing and put it together to see it come into fruition into a beautiful project that clients love, it's so gratifying, it's so rewarding, and along the way developing a relationship with our clients and and then getting repeat clients that, oh, you did this one space, all right, let's do that. And it's really fun because when you develop that rapport, it's long lasting. People can see that we're the real deal. We're not here today, gone tomorrow. Like we love what we do, and we've been in Worcester and we've been in business for 19 years and we have a reputation as such. So we take a lot of pride in that, and we love what we do.
I'm chuckling because that's why we were late tonight. Stopped to visit an old client, and next thing you know, they were breaking out a bottle of wine and crackers and cheese and talking about updating a bathroom we did a few years ago. Yeah. So it's great. Gina's a great rapport with them. They're one of her first clients.
Yeah, I love them.
Going way back, so it's very cool. Yeah. So anyway, it's great being able to put our two skills together in a way that benefits clients and makes our business work.
And frankly, the community too. But I think our clients can really see that we genuinely love what we do and we're the real deal. And, people are really drawn to that. So it's really cool.
I agree. I mean, the chemistry between you guys, just like in business, was very apparent right away. It was just very smooth. Like, clearly you guys had good rapport with each other, and that was trickling down to everybody else on the team, and it just seemed like a great vibe all around. I'm sure people pick up on that right away when they meet you, as I did. So, I mean, you guys are doing great, and I know the future is super bright, especially now that we have gotten this opportunity. So let's talk about like the specifics of George to the Rescue, and tell them like about the specifics, like the pantry, like the project itself.
So the really cool part, another really cool part of this, with the way like things are kind of like in the stars meant to be, is that my previous position had been dealing with philanthropic giving in Central and Western Mass, and a lot of that was food insecurities and dealing with a lot of food pantries and a lot of donations, a lot of visits to food pantries. So I was really, really familiar with the need that our communities have. So having that insight and that experience really helped with this project, because understanding what the nuances are for these folks, you know, mostly guys, but their families too, understanding kind of where they're coming from, in addition to having the design acumen, was really like a beautiful culmination of my experience put together into, you know, for this project. So, you know, the food pantry was a basement, and it was, you know, like something that just came about because of a need. It was a basement, so they just made do, which is really how a lot of food pantries come to be, and they don't ever get a beautiful renovation like this. So it was a concrete floor, uneven, stained, you know, what kind of walls?
Well, some concrete walls. There was like
walls.
Some board and plaster walls built in front of them.
But just dingy, dark, you know, exposed ceiling with, it was a low ceiling too, with all kinds of ducts and pipes and cords and all kinds of like
wires, Ethernet cables, and
all of it. And it was really dark down there. So there was no exterior light, you know, because it's a basement, so no windows, no nothing. So it was just really dark and dreary and sad. So you're, you know, having the purview of thinking about the folks that needed this, you know, space, you know, they're coming in with heavy hearts. You know, they've fallen on hard times. Nobody really wants to go to a food pantry, but necessity begets them to go. And so my thought between knowing from whence they were coming was like, I really wanted them to be welcomed into a space, to feel like, you know, they were wanted, they were welcome. So maybe they're coming in with a heavy heart, but they're going to leave with a smile, and, you know, just really feeling like a lot more confident and really cared about, really cared about. So, you know, seeing the space, meeting with the volunteers and talking to them, understanding what do they need, what are they seeing that could be improved. And, you know, Marge was great. She's the older of the two, and she was adamant that, like, the footprint worked fine. Don't mess with the floor plan. It works perfectly. This is the way we like it. Don't mess that up. So
just make it look
don't
nice.
mess with the system.
Yeah,
Keep it
Marge
rolling.
the Sarge.
You don't want to upend that.
Yeah, absolutely. Which was fine with me. And frankly, the shelving was in great shape. Like, everything was in really good shape. The ceiling was, you know, sort of the bane of my existence. But in talking to the executive director and understanding, you know, a bit more about the folks that would be using it, you know, she said they love Americana. They love vintage Americana. You know, so anything American was like really what they loved. And so to develop the design plan, you know, I did some research, and knowing that they loved that vintage essence, I really wanted to incorporate some cool posters, you know, some classic, like, you know, military posters. And so I did a lot of research, and there was no wall space. That was the other thing. There was no wall space to put a poster. So I'm like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to, you know, do this. And in the process of looking at the posters, you know, they were like from the 30s and the 40s, so they were Army, Navy, Marines, but they didn't include, you know, Air Force and, you know, Space Force and the Coast Guard. And I wanted to make sure that everybody who came into this, everybody who has served in any of the branches would feel like they are welcome. So I knew I need to recreate one of these posters once I found something that I really liked. And I asked my friend Carolyn Granberg, who is a fantastic artist, so capable. I said, hey, I told her about the project, and she was absolutely 100% in for it, because she, you know, loves veterans and just loved the whole concept of it. So we had two doors right near the entryway that were just plain. They were a utility for the utilities, right?
Yeah, like a data closet type of thing, yeah.
And so they were just these like solid doors that added, you know, nothing visually to the space. So I said, hey, can you recreate this poster on these two doors? And, you know, it was a challenge because there's obviously a split in the door, and there's handles and, you know, some, you know, hinges, things like that. But she was 100% down for it. And she was able to use some 3M tape to help create the framework for, you know, the artwork that she did. So even though it's a recreation of an original, you know, military recruitment poster, she really created her own piece of artwork that is just, it sets the space, sets the tone. The whole design is built around that. So the rest of the space is done in a red, white, and blue theme. So painted the walls white, a dove white by Ben Moore. Painted the ceilings white too, because that ceiling I couldn't change anything. Like, I really had to work with what is. We were able to eliminate some of the wires.
Don't forget about the damn shelves.
I'm not going to forget about the damn shelves. Getting there, Kevin. So, you know, that ceiling was really a big concern for me because it was dark and it was low. It just, It really bothered me. So we opted to paint everything white, the ceiling, the walls white, and it really helped to elevate the space, make it feel a little bit loftier, and really helped those, ducts and pipes and cords and things like that really feel like they were kind of evaporated. And then since the shelving was in great shape, we just opted to paint that a navy blue, Ben Moore, navy blue, beautiful.
It's a great idea that I loved from the get-go.
Oh, yeah, Kevin.
Did you push back?
She's like, well, there's like 27 metal shelves, like 4 feet wide by 6 feet tall. And she's like, I want to paint these blue. I'm like, no, you don't.
And I said, yes, I do.
It's like, well, you see how many shelves there are? I'm going to ask somebody to do this for like no pay.
Well, you didn't think that the metal could be painted. And I said,
I was
no.
concerned that it was going to, I had concerns. I was not on board.
Sometimes Kevin's the dream killer, but
I wanted
just
to
a little.
squash that dream. But as it turns out, it actually worked out to be a very good idea.
Yeah.
And the painter we had on board, and that's the other thing that I'm sure, Jane was going to get to, that the subs that we ended up asking to get involved were very willing to help and jumped right in. And as soon as we said it was for veterans, it was like, oh yeah, count me in. I have no time, but sure, I'll help.
Yeah.
And our painter did a fantastic job, like working late. We had to pull all those shelves out, bring them all back in, and I met him there once at like 6 o'clock and stayed with him till like 9 o'clock, mainly just for moral support and help him out a little bit. But those shelves really did, painting of the American flag blue.
Well, they were just blue. They were just navy blue. They weren't the American flag, but
they kind of blue. American flag has blue.
It does. It does. But they were navy blue.
To me, there was American flag blue.
Yeah. Okay. So they were navy blue, and they once they were painted, they had this finished look. They added some depth, some richness to it, and they were also really functional. I mean, navy blue is very forgiving, so it was great. And like Kevin said, there were 27 of them.
It turned out to be a good idea, Jane.
Oh, thank you. So that was the navy blue part of it. In addition to, we had a custom-built desk and bookcase for the volunteers so that they would have a place to operate from, and then we added a gorgeous quartz countertop to the L-shaped tables there because it's functional and beautiful, and then added pops of red with the seating and some decorations. We had actually a vintage poster that I had framed for the space, and then the lighting. We had an electrician, Eric Bienvenu, come in.
Right, yeah.
Yep. Come in and add like tons and tons of lighting, and he was really like kind of pushing back. He said, it's really going to be bright in here. I don't think you need this many. And I said, no, we need this many.
Yeah.
So
it
needed them,
it's
right?
bright.
He just didn't really. It is bright, but frankly, it needs to be bright.
Yeah, no, I think we needed the right amount of light.
Yeah, he did try pushing back on me, but he was great. He worked really hard. And then the flooring. So I opted to do an LVP flooring, which is a luxury vinyl plank, and it's a fantastic application in a basement because there tends to be moisture in a basement. So it's very durable, but it's beautiful too. So it's like an oak wood grain finish, and it's a very reasonably priced product as well. But we had Footprints flooring install it. Sean Donahue worked really, really hard in grinding the floor because the floor had tons of, ebbs and dips and things like that. So he worked really, really hard on that. Revelwood Floors donated all of the materials for the floor, and it was an expansive place. It really was. So, but that helped to just make the space feel so much less like a basement, really warmed it up, gave it some texture, and helped balance out the white and the navy and the pops of red in the space. So, put it all together, and it's light, it's bright, it's sophisticated, but it, has that lovely American essence to it in a very sophisticated way that will be timeless and enjoyed for the next 10 or 20 years to come, maybe more.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys did crush it. For the before and after is insane. You brighten it up so well. It was really depressing, and now it's like a very happy space.
Well, it's very interesting to see how the impact worked out to be on that. In the beginning, I'm like, this is just a basement. We got walls and the floors. We're not changing anything around. This really isn't going to be anything too major. But, listening to Jane talk about it, there's a lot that went into it, and we're able to change it drastically. But the thing I underestimated from the beginning, I think, was what impact it would have. Like, in the beginning, like, well, we're just going to paint it, but move floors. Yeah, we'll make it nicer, but, like, it's still a basement. But, like, the reactions when they did the big reveal and then hearing them talk about I think one of the most impactful things I heard was just, these guys are coming off of hard times, right? They served our country, and they've had different challenges as a result of that, and they're clearly in a turning point in their lives and trying to get back on their feet. And when you're going through that phase of your life and trying to get some momentum going again, when you need something and you got to go down into this dingy basement to ask for help and to get stuff, it's kind of depressing. So like the psychological impact of having this nice bright space that's more intentionally designed, that's welcoming, that has this beautiful mural that Carolyn, did, and just having all the light and all that stuff in there, just like making it more like, hey, this is a bright space. This is a welcoming space. We're here to help you. We want to like the space to help wrap their arms around you. And like, that was really, I think I underestimated what the impact of it would be.
For sure. And, at first I was a little bit concerned too. And I thought, what am I going to be able to do to this space, because it's philanthropic, and, all our subs are donating everything, so knowing that we can't move pipes, we can't move walls, like, kind of have to work with what's there. So it was really, I was a little bit concerned at first, thinking, how am I going to make this really special and really great? And, once I created the design plan, it was like the little details, having that vintage poster framed, having the partitions done, purchasing the partitions for various spots in the basement that they weren't getting renovated, and they were just for, the staff. So I wanted to have those blocked off, but done in a beautiful way. So having, American flag partitions in different areas to block those spaces off and just make it look lovely, getting new little carriages for, the shoppers, because before they were just using like boxes. And frankly, this is all non-perishable stuff. So it's heavy. There's, cans and things like that. And, a lot of these guys are older. A lot of these family members are older. So, that stuff is heavy. So having these nice new little buggies, was really lovely. And, just like the little details, having a beautiful chair, red velvet tufted for, someone to just sit down and, have a moment, maybe chit chat with the volunteers. The volunteers have a beautiful red velvet tufted chair. It just kind of all came together, in addition to doing a new exterior door, and we painted that red, and we made sure that had a window because we wanted to get as much sunlight as possible in there. So, just like these little details that help make a space feel very personal and updated, in addition to, flooring, lighting, painting, those things. But, it's...
And 27 racks of metal shelves.
27 racks. But, the devil's in the details. So you gotta dig into those things, and I love it. And those are the things that people remember, that really make a space feel special and customized to, whomever's using it. So it was fantastic. And like Kevin said, seeing the impact of the consumers that are going to be using it. I mean, over the course of, 2.5 months that we were there, we had the opportunity to work there and, come into contact with a lot of the veterans. And they were just like the most genuine, humble, sweet men that were so gentlemanly, like opened the door for me and, would say thank you, like, thank you so much for what you're doing. Like, really, we really, really appreciate it.
And we're like, no, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, like really. And that's what we said to them. No, thank you for what you've done, for all of us. You really deserve all of this and then some. And so the first time that I met George, the first time I was getting, really videoed, I didn't have my design plan done yet, but I was just meeting George for the first time, and they're, mic'd up, asking me a bunch of questions, and I not having a design plan, I'm, kind of winging it, I was talking in generalities and things like that. But when I met George, he's just as nice in real life as he looks like on the show, so like there's no difference between real life and, what he personifies, on George to the Rescue. Just a really, really great guy. So we went through the food pantry, and there's also this patio area where the guys love. It's like a covered garage area, and they love it out there because, they can go out there and smoke. A lot of them are smokers, but there's a grill, and it's just, there's always guys out there, hanging out, chatting, and, it was really like just odds and ends tons of, furniture, a big wooden picnic table, nothing matched, nothing looked comfortable, but they loved it, nonetheless. And so I pulled George out there and I said, hey, take a look at this area. Do you think we could, add something, do something here? And he was 100%. He was like, yeah, absolutely. I've got a great friend at Janice at Sea. Let me talk to him, see if he can donate some furniture. And that is a beautiful high-end line of exterior furniture. So luckily, they were kind enough to donate all kinds of beautiful, beautiful pieces. And then we were able to add that renovation as a really nice little surprise that nobody knew about. So that was
really good to incorporate that. That just made it feel a little more, I don't know, a little plus, a little bonus. So it was nice to have that be a part of it.
Yeah. And they just, honestly, they were so grateful. And honestly, didn't really know what to say. Just didn't know what to say. And, but humble and kind and gentlemanly. And it was an amazing project from start to finish and truly a privilege to have been a part of.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Likewise.
Very cool to be part of it.
Thank you guys for allowing us to be a part of it. It was amazingly, like Kevin said, underestimated the impactfulness of it. You don't really feel it until the reveal day. Yeah. That was where all the emotions came out. Tears were shed, across that whole parking lot.
I wasn't really expecting that. That was really cool.
Unreal. Yeah. It was so touching, and I'm a firm believer in generosity begets generosity, and just to have this opportunity, it took us a lot of time. It took us many, many hours, as you will know. It took you many, many hours to get the footage and edit and all of that. So really was a labor of love, and to think that our expertise and our gifts of being able to do what we do is able to bless these guys and their families is just, there's hardly words to explain how great it feels to have had the opportunity to bless somebody, in this way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Let's talk a little bit more about the production process, because that's what our followers are listening and interested in.
Yeah.
It was very
what did you guys learn about how a TV show is made? Because it's a 20-minute episode. It makes it look like a quick flip. Like all these home makeover shows, everybody sees them, and you think it's 2 days or a weekend they threw this whole thing together. But
that was very
what was the
eye-opening.
timeline like?
From the beginning, they just had. There's so much camera time that goes into the whole thing that was very unexpected. I mean, I think you always know that there's a lot of camera time, but to witness it and see how much footage they take, and they're like, "Oh, slow down! Can you wave that spray can across the shelves one more time? And let me just videotape that and get a close up, and let me interview you for 10 minutes so we can get that 5-second blip of something, and
Right.
there's just so much of that footage. They come up with the whole production crew, and then they have a local." Husband and wife team that took some footage,
Mike,
and
yep.
they were great, and they were just there to just take footage. They were just let's take as much footage as you possibly can. I mean, I can't even imagine how many hours they actually have to get whittled down. But interviewing, talking while you're in the space, and then some standalone interviews when you're out in the parking lot asking questions, to just the B-roll, which I never knew what that was, but the B-roll footage of just taking footage of whatever, somebody laying floors or painting something, to have that all whittled down to just this 20-minute episode, which was really well done. It was very impressive to see how well produced it was at the very end. But I think that's the biggest thing, is how much footage they actually go into the whole thing. You know?
There were just hours and hours and hours of footage, and oh my God, I loved it. It was so much fun.
Camera shy Jane.
Yeah, I know. It was so much fun. I could have done 3 times as much. It was just great.
They're like, oh yeah, we got to redo that take. Can we just go back 5? The past 10 seconds. Oh, can we just start from the scratch? Can we just do the last 2 minutes over again?
No, Kevin, take it from the top.
Take it from the top, yeah. Sorry, I don't have the lingo down.
But it was just, I loved it. I was just reminded of how much I love being on camera, and, working with Namra, was a great, foray into this. So it wasn't my first time, we had done it a few times with you.
That actually was helpful to have done a little bit of it, because...
Yeah, very, very much so. But, tons of hours of, interviewing and explaining, and, and then it's just culled down to,
But they were very good. In addition to the, amount of footage they did, they were very good about asking questions and making you feel comfortable and just kind of trying to, you can tell they've done it before, right? They just, ask the right questions to keep things flowing and make you feel natural and just talk about things in as natural a way as possible. I mean, you guys do the same thing, what you do, but just the whole thing was very, very cool to.
And the producers were, just really nice, really appreciative, very professional.
Yeah.
The camera crew, Ramel was, and Kyle, they were great. And, like Kevin said, like you guys and Justin, just really like make us feel comfortable, because there's a bit of anxiety when you're in front of the camera, like, how fat and ugly do I look? I don't want to sound like a dum-dum, but they were just genuinely really, really nice people. So hours and hours of footage, but then also weekly meetings, that we would have. Hey, where are things at? What's the update? Emails with, hey, what's this information? Here's the call sheet.
That was,
and like, hey, show up at 10, but then they were driving up from New Jersey, so they wouldn't be there till 12. So, so just like you could just kind of roll with it. And they were delightful to work with. I mean, sincerely, like just really, really nice people. And you can really tell that they love what they do, that they really love being a part of this. It wasn't like a, okay, can you do it again? Like they just were. You can tell when someone's, trying to fool you, or full of it. Like they genuinely really like what they do, and they really like each other.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like it all trickles down from George, because he was like, just his vibe was so great. Like he's just the nicest guy, and you can tell they all love him, and that makes them love the whole project of George to the Rescue. It was like the least disappointing, like meeting the celebrity I've ever had, where like he just was super down to earth, super cool,
regular
like brought
guy.
Great vibes, was like funny the whole time, and then like you said, he was the exact same person on and off camera. It was like he was like, oh, the cameras are rolling, cool, I'm same guy.
And they've been working together for 15 seasons all together.
Mm-hmm.
And so Andrew and Andrew went to college together there.
They did too.
Mm-hmm.
I know Andrew Sherbo and George, I think, were connected and started from the beginning. I didn't know Andrew Bank was too. But they had a good vibe, and Andrew was really great to work with. Always pleasant and happy, smiling, roll with the punches if things need to change, if it's not a big deal, and just regroup, and very organized. That's one thing that was, for me, not being in that world, but kind of seeing a little more like what the producer does, organizing things and having those initial upfront contacts and the meetings to kind of set things up, and then like the follow-up emails, like Jane mentioned, like well organized, the call sheet, laying things out, what's going to happen when. But even in those emails, I just found this very interesting. It's probably not much of anything, but like would have a little bit of history about the MVOC, and they'd even like explain a little bit about Jane and I, in that email they'll go out to everybody and what
the weather would be that
day, and where to park, and a little bit about Stephanie, the executive director, like that kind of gave this whole little background in the email and the call sheet, but it was very well organized, easy to read, and just kind of laid everything out to minimize the questions. Oh, where do we park? And who's that? And what are they doing? Like just really try to just like let's give it everybody. They're not going to have any excuses to be inundated with like a bunch of stupid questions, because it's all laid out for you.
But like done in a very.
I'm like, how can I do that in my world?
That's what we learned on our own to do similar stuff. Like that's why we have pre-production calls before every shoot now, because we did enough shoots without a pre-production call where it ended up being like kind of winging it, and the deliverables don't end up aligning exactly with what you shot that day because it wasn't all planned out enough. So pre-production call before every shoot is our like small version of like, what was a little more elaborate for a big TV show, but that's what you learn with a little experience shooting with people.
And it really helps, like when you're in front of the camera, it really helps alleviate a bit of anxiety when you have like an outline of what that shoot's going to be. So it really changes the energy of the shoot and helps it to be better, helps you to feel better and do your best, bring your your A game to it. So it was really nice. And in the weekly production calls, we met the editors and had conversations with them.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know you guys met the editors.
Yeah, nice. They were it was a tremendous experience. And like Kevin said, the subcontractors that we used are all our folks. And I sort of anticipated needing to, cajole and, maybe, talk some people, into it. But there was none of that. As soon as I explained to our subs, like, hey, this is for the veterans, they yes, I'm in. What can I do? Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. And, and that feels really good, because in a world where generosity is not the first most prevalent thing that us humans are sharing with each other, this was just a great feel-good project for us, and to see that feel-good energy and vibe radiate out to our subcontractors and, of course, to, the folks at the MVOC. It was just awesome. I'll never forget this experience. Never, never, never. It was really awesome.
I agree, and that's why, we've talked about, now that we have this connection and doing this renovation and being part of the show, but beating them and still really having a desire to help the veterans. I mean, that's really tough to think of a more worthy community of people to want to give back and help with. So we want to continue to find ways to go back and, redecorate the outdoor patio area.
We're going to host
under
a
Jane's
luncheon.
Direction.
Yeah.
And,
we're going to host a luncheon for, for the guys. And, I already talked to Stephanie, the executive director, and she was like, oh, let us know what we can bring. I said, no. You guys are going to be served. It's our pleasure. We really, they're like our patron philanthropic, entity.
For sure.
We really want to stay connected with them and see, really go back and see how this space is blessing them and is improving the lives of, the veterans that are there, that come through there, and, just stay continued connection with them.
Yep. Absolutely. You guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I can't wait for our next show opportunity. I'd love to have my own show.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks, maybe less, after George the Rescue aired. Jane was like, I have to have my own show. I have to have my own show.
I love it.
She's dying
so it's
for
good.
it.
Addicted to the cameras.
It's just so much
we got
fun.
You right where we want you.
Yeah, let me talk about design, and I'll just go on and on and on.
It was pretty cool seeing it. I mean, even the mini episode you guys did was excellent. That came out. Give you guys credit.
Great job. Yeah, thank you.
That was really good.
Yeah.
And at Thanksgiving we had family over, and there was some younger relatives that hadn't seen it yet. They had it on in the
nieces and nephews.
Yeah,
and they turned it on.
They turned it on. We didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, every time one of us came on screen, we were like yelling, Jane! Yeah, woo! It was pretty
yeah,
funny.
it was really cool for, it was very cool for our family to see us. They see what we do all the time, maybe not all the nuances, but then to see what we do on camera and to see us doing it for, the vets. It was really, really cool. And we, the number of accolades and gratitude that we got from our friends and family, because we obviously have veterans in our family and our friends group, and just to hear their gratitude and appreciation for what we did for these guys is just amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool. And they said from the get-go that the show was going to be very much about the story behind the MVOC and how it was founded, and the story behind that.
Yeah.
Was it Kathy?
Kathy, yep.
Yeah.
And they did a great job telling that story.
They
I
really
had
did.
really no idea until I watched the episode, and I was like, oh, wow.
It brings a tear to your eye.
It really does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first intro scene of the episode, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize the backstory behind it all. And I was like, man, that's
It's really
crazy.
good. I'm very glad they did it that way
it was
versus
great.
a typical renovation show. It's all about the nuts and bolts of it, but actually having it be about the story. George said that from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be very much about Kathy and how she started this thing and who it serves, and that's what the main premise of the show is. It was really cool, and that actually, I really think that, I don't know, it makes it better to feel better to be part of it. That was what it was all about.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. And then getting to meet, and we had meetings with the other sponsors, National Grid and Comcast. They were just also fantastic
Really good people. Everybody was good. Even that, you're right.
Yeah,
they were.
yeah. So having conversations, having the meetings, the weekly meetings, we would meet with the other sponsors and talk about what they were going to be able to do, and it was it was really, really exciting to hear about how generous they were able to be, and to, you know, not only affect, you know, the folks that are at the MVOC now, but, you know, continue to affect and impact, you know, the hundreds of, you know, veterans that will come and go from, you know, that facility. So just, you know, the generosity begets more generosity. It's just, it keeps going. So, you know, to meet with those people was also just a fantastic opportunity to, you know, collaborate in this like spirit of generosity and appreciation for what the veterans do and for what the MVOC does for the veterans.
Mm-hmm. And National Grid donated like
10 grand.
10 grand, and Comcast did 100 laptops and Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, Wi-Fi for the rest of the perpetuity.
Forever, perpetuity.
And
set up Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the place. I think it was like 50 something.
Rewired everything, and it was really cool because like in this meeting where we had with the other sponsors, you know, it was a Teams meeting, and so this one guy was like, "Hey, you know, we have like." You know, 100 laptops, you know, over here. Yeah. It like landed like a lead balloon. I thought, was he supposed to say
that's
that?
That might have been a discussion prior to the meeting.
Yeah. And so they ended up donating 50. But still, you
awesome.
know, like that was just tremendous for, you know, the volunteers and, you know, and Stephanie Marchetti is just, she was
great to work with, for
sure. Really a fantastic and appreciative and dynamic woman who is really changing lives. And, you know, she told me, she said, these guys come in here and they have such heavy hearts and they feel so ashamed and they've struggled and they are not proud of where they are. And she, you know what she says to them? You're home now. Your struggles are over.
That's amazing. It's like heartwarming.
Yeah. Like that really makes me choked up because thinking that these guys haven't had a home, they haven't had anyone care about them, you know, theoretically, and for her to say that to them and genuinely mean it, like, wow.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And she's, you know, the real deal too. So it's fantastic.
Top notch.
Yeah, it was. It's going to make me tear up.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's great. Every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, truly grateful to be a part of something like that. It was amazing.
Yeah. I can't say enough great things about it. I'm sad it's over.
Me too. It was fun. We all got closer in that experience, I think. So I appreciate you guys. Let's do a couple plugs. First, for the MVOC, since we just mentioned everything that they do, how impactful it was. Obviously, they have a new pantry, but they need to keep it full. And I believe they're always taking on donations on their website, right? So
Absolutely.
It's the Montechusett Veterans Outreach Center in Gardner, Mass.
Yep.
Is it MVOC.com?
I'm pretty sure it's MVOC.com, but you can easily Google it. But
you Google MVOC, you'll find it. And they're on Facebook, and I've started following them on Facebook, so people can follow them there and see what's happening. And I see them posting different events and things like right there. So it's a great way to follow them.
And it's super easy because they have an Amazon wish list.
That's
and they
right,
have all different price points for things. So if you just wanted to, you know, get on there and give something small, you could give something small. You can make a monthly contribution. Like just, you know, any little bit helps. And they are so profoundly appreciative of every little thing.
And they're growing too. I mean, they're building a whole new facility. I forget how many beds, but they're building a whole new building to house and support more veterans.
Yeah.
But it's great because they're very, you know, they're independent, private organization. There's not a lot of red tape. So people that want to help veterans, this is a great place to put your time and money or whatever you want to, you know, donate.
Yeah. It's really changing lives. The MVOC is really changing lives.
Absolutely. Lastly, so people can check you guys out and watch all the behind-the-scenes videos that we made. There's photos on both of your pages. So BB&R Design Build on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Jane Barnes Interiors on all those same platforms. The mini episode, like the real behind-the-scenes 8-minute sort of like actual mini episode that our team shot, is on Jane's YouTube channel, and that's like literally it's like the Jane and Kevin like exclusive episode of like all the behind the scenes from our side of the process, since we only got a couple minutes of airtime on the actual episode.
I know.
So, but that's why we did what we did. We covered all of it behind the scenes. We have tons of footage of you guys on camera.
Very cool.
And we made our own little thing out of it. So check that out for sure. Share it on YouTube if you guys are interested in kitchens, bathrooms, additions.
Yeah. Beautiful interior design for your home or for your office, give me a call. And, we love what we do. And I think the proof is in the pudding. But I would really like to say thank you again to you and your team for just jumping right in and talk about, just 100%, yes, we want to participate in this, and we want to donate everything for this process. And there was hours and hours and hours of your time, and we just really, really appreciate that, because the story that you were able to tell is different than what the show is telling, and it just highlighted, some of the really cool experiences and parts of this project that otherwise wouldn't have been captured. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Agreed. I second that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Of course. Happy to help again. Thank you guys. Very grateful for both of you. And looking forward to the future.
Yay!
Very cool to be here doing this podcast after, meeting in the brewery, and then get some videos going.
It's come full circle.
And then get to the George the Rescue, and now we're back here doing the podcast.
Show,
let's
get out there and visit breweries more often. You never know where it's going to go. Let that be the lesson to you.
We should say you guys are in Worcester. We're networking at the Worcester Chamber, so anybody in Central Mass, definitely come out. There's a good chance you'll see me, Jane, Kevin out at a Worcester Chamber event near you.
Yeah, hey.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Ciao.
Peace out.